Everyone knows that Okuyasu Nijimura's stand, the hand, is one of the most broken stands across the land. Man. But the problem with it was that it wasn't Okuyasu friendly. Exactly. It's easy to call Okuyasu dumb, as it's done across Diamond is Unbreakable. However, the difficulty is making the stand so easy that it carries Okuyasu. You might say, well, Caleb, my name is Caleb, by the way. All you have to do is max out the stats and just add on some more stuff. And see, I thought the same thing, but that's not hard or makes sense. But what I'm going to do is establish an equivalent exchange system. So for every positive change, I must make a negative change to balance it out. Let's start this up with the hand stand stats. Stand stats get a bad rep for inconsistencies. I feel like it makes a lot more sense if the idea is that it's specific to each stand. For example, an A for one stand is not the same level of A for another. It's not 100%, but it makes a lot of sense. Like Star Platinum's A in strength is not the same as a lot of other people's A in strength. All right, so let's pull up the hand stand stats, and looking at it now, the hand had way worse overall stats than I remember. What is this? He has a B in power, which is pretty good. B in speed, pretty good. D in range, C in stamina. Durability was apparently a mistranslation that we just all believed. C in precision, and C in developmental potential. So what can we do here? Well, when you have a character with a lot of damage but a low learning curve, they have specific archetypes already attributed to them. For example, tanks, grapplers, and bruisers. I don't see Okuyasu as a tank, but a grappler slash bruiser should work for him. So let's degrade his precision and potential. You don't need that much precision when you're just mashing IRL. Now we have 2 points to use into anything else, so we're going to be putting that into range and speed. Not only would we be increasing his combat range, but we can also imply that we've increased the distance that the hand can swipe. Since he can remove the space between him and his opponent, it's similar to a hook that grabs someone from a distance. Once that space is gone, with his bonus in speed, he should be able to box out more characters than before. The reason for that being broken, well, imagine a grappler with outstanding frame data. You can't escape, and trying to fight them 1v1 gets you beat up because they're somehow faster. The only answer is like zoning. That's terrifying, but with these current changes, is that enough to change Okuyasu's position in the story? Well, first there's Josuke versus Okuyasu, and he's not necessarily trying to kill Josuke, more so just put the hands on him, and I think he's able to do that even more now, but he still gets outsmarted because the flower pot. But you know, he has an additional point in speed. He should be able to stop it, right? Well, he was already fast to begin with. Why the hell did he not stop the damn whatever, he didn't. He just didn't. That's Okuyasu, and I guess also the fact that Josuke isn't really allowed to lose this fight because that would mess up the rest of DIU. This isn't Okuyasu's fight. We have to move on. Okay, well, at least there's the Akira Otoishi fight, which is Red Hot Chili Pepper. Except a few problems here. See, Akira is trying to get Okuyasu angry, which clouds his thinking a good bit. For example, Red Hot Chili Pepper rolling away from the hand. If Okuyasu were to hit him where he was going to be instead of where he was, it would have been a lot more effective, but that's an Okuyasu problem, not a stand problem unless you're just faster, which he is now. So that might work at swiping a large portion of Chili Pepper, but you know, unless he gets the headshot to like completely destroy him, even if that's supposed to work, and like, you know, headshots don't really happen in fiction. We've learned that with horror movies. There's still the heavy wiring underneath, and because of that, the outcome should end up just the same with Okuyasu losing again. But I guess it's okay. He gets the final hit on the boat. You know, that counts as a dub for Okuyasu. That's 1-0. That's, you know, that's like more than Vegito. And there, man, I am killing it on these resolutions. Anyways, the Rohan fight. Since we still have to establish the part of Josuke's backstory and hit home on the "don't you make fun of my hair" point, pretty sure that means Okuyasu still has to lose here for that to happen, which kind of like bullshit. Against Shigechi, well, they didn't really lose to him. They just can't cap him because you know, that would be kind of insane. But yeah, Superfly, like, no, not super. No, this is stupid. And finally, there's the Kira fight. See, here's what's funny here. All right, this is Okuyasu already using his stand correctly. In this instance where he swiped Stray Cat right out of Killer Queen's stomach, he didn't need any buffs to do that. He saved the day. That's kind of already how that went. So I'm gonna be honest with y'all. So let me level with you. Yeah, we get told that Okuyasu would be a lot more powerful if he wasn't so stupid. But this is Okuyasu, not like the damn final villain. Like, Okuyasu isn't missing a lot of potential realistically, because doing what people would want him to do, as in just swipe a good portion of people away and just, oh yeah, swipe him down the middle and they'll annihilate him. That'd be, Okuyasu just would not, like, that's so out of character. That never happened. He's not Vanilla Ice. He's on our side. And you know, like, if Okuyasu was like a part 5 character, then he'd probably be about capping people like that. But that's not Okuyasu at that point. That'd just be another character in part 5. It'd be a second version of Mista, honestly. I do think that the changes that we made would definitely stick, but how far they would change up the plot it wouldn't even be DIU at that point. I can make a whole what if video for a buffed Okuyasu, but that just sounds more so hilarious. But if you do want to go about characters, you know, that have actual missing potential, you know, there's Sasori. He had lore about him taking down small nations and stuff. Yeah, we only had one actual fight with him, and that was against his exact counter plus Sakura. You know, we can get more Sasori agenda out there. And I'm doing so good at this, bro. But yeah, lay off Okuyasu. He's stupid on purpose. It just makes sense. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully I'll see you all on the next one. Until then, peace out and Godspeed.